Or one person like screaming, Sweet Caroline and butchering it at the
Yes.
end.
Yeah.
Interesting place.
Yes.
All right, I think we're ready.
Ready? Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's start just with your name and title and jurisdiction, please.
Sure. I'm Kelly Axtell, Deputy Town Manager for the Town of Lexington, Massachusetts.
All right, fellow New Englander, I'm happy.
Yes. Yes.
So what moment or event made you realize that you wanted to be in local government?
Sure. So about 5 years ago, I went to the Northeast Conference, and as someone that wanted to be in the department head level, when I left that conference, I wanted to be in town management. I was so thrilled. I learned so much that weekend and just wanted to be at the top.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, high praise
Yes.
for the Northeast.
Yes, it was wonderful. It was
Wonderful.
wonderful. Yes.
What do you feel are the most important qualities for somebody in your role?
So my role as the deputy, I do a lot of customer service, meaning with staff, employees, and the residents. So one of the biggest characteristics is interpersonal skills. Being able to sit and talk with somebody, listen to their constructive criticism, listen to what they're going through personally, especially with staff, and help them to be able to work at work. And then with the residents, just making them feel like they've been heard, even if I can't give them the answer that they're looking for, it's that they are able to come and speak to somebody at the top and really get things done there.
What challenges have you faced in your career, and how did you overcome some of those challenges?
Sure. I think a couple things. One is I didn't come the traditional route. I didn't get my MPA or didn't go undergraduate in any sort of political science or anything like that. I have my master's in business and an undergraduate in human services. And so I came from the private sector into our human services department. And so for me, I felt like I always had to give more than maybe my counterparts, prove myself more. So I always asked for conferences or training opportunities and went 3 times in a row so that I could make sure that when the opportunity for this position opened up, I was ready. I could prove I was ready. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge or the barrier, because I didn't come with a ready-made education background. It was more based on experience. So with that, and then another barrier just in general is I am an introvert. So in this industry where our jobs, everything is public. Even our personal lives sometimes are public, especially I live in the town next door. So it's every day is a challenge to get myself out of my comfort zone, because my comfort zone is to be alone. So, but I love what I do, and so I've always sort of faced that challenge and given myself the opportunity to take the alone time as I need, but really overcome that introverted behavior that's, I'm blanking on what I'm trying to say. Just being an introvert, where my natural characteristic is to not be around people.
That's a hard thing to push yourself to
Yes,
do.
yes, but because of the job and because of because I can see the impact, because of the people I work with, work for the residents, it's worth it for me to do it every day.
And how has your ICMA membership helped you in overcoming these challenges, both as a career changer
Mhm.
and with, getting out there and exposing yourself to other people?
Sure. Well, the conferences have been wonderful. The networking opportunities, I can't say enough for networking. I mean, it's the way to just get yourself out there, practice your small talk, be able to speak. It's a nice opportunity to be able to speak about your town and what is happening in the town and your successes and your failures, in order to get feedback of there's other people out there that have gone through the exact same thing that you've gone through. And then the other thing that I have really taken advantage of are the webinars. As a department level employee, we had a special group that watched all the webinars together, the coaching webinars, and then discussed them with our senior management team. So we had the opportunity of face-to-face time with the senior management team, as well as sitting and gaining the expertise of the webinars. So now I actually coordinate those webinars with my employees. So I've seen it on both sides, and it's been, the webinars are phenomenal. And any of the, I've gone on from the coaching webinars to other ones, and just feel like they're really well done. They give a great perspective. They bring in all sorts of people. So I think that those two are the best things that I've gotten out of the membership.
How cool that
Yes.
you are using the coaching program like
Yes.
that with your employees too.
Yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If you're not in touch with Rob Carty, who works on the coaching program, that would let him know.
Yes.
That's just such a wonderful thing.
Yes, yes.
What's a highlight of your career been so far?
I think probably being promoted up from a human service. I was the assistant director of senior services, and just seeing the difference that hard work and experience working so hard and finding my place in the public domain. I had been in private sector for so long, working up the corporate ladder, and just didn't see any personal satisfaction or professional satisfaction. And then to come here and see my work on a bigger scale in the community, being able to see what I do day to day, even if it's not immediate, because most things in government, local government, are not immediate, but to see the work that people have done before me and be able to implement what policies and procedures have been put in. I think the major accomplishment is working so hard and getting the training and not going the traditional path, and being able to show other people that they can do it too if that's what they want to do. You know, I think for me, having role models and people that I can relate to as a woman, as a convert from private to public, I think being an introvert, all of that as a package, I think I try to take my experiences and share them with other people. And this type of platform of the position that I'm in, the town that I'm in, gives me that opportunity.
That's great.
Yes.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody who's in the public sector or the private sector but on the fence and go for it?
I just think if you want to make an impact in your community, go for it. You know, we need all sorts of minds and abilities and skills, and you can see the difference in your community versus your shareholders that you're trying to make money for. It's the most fulfilling job you could ever have.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What excites you particularly about the profession right now?
I would say I'm part of the Women Leading Government in Massachusetts, and just to hear a lot through this conference, even and it's not just gender balance but the diversity and the inclusion, and just really making an equal playing ground for all abilities, no matter what gender or anything else. So I think the passion that we're seeing in Massachusetts and other states of really giving women the opportunity to move forward if that's what they want to do, or stay where they are and grow, that's really exciting to be part of that movement that's been, you know, our foremothers beforehand have been doing for all different reasons, but to be part of the profession that can make a difference is, for women that are coming after me and everything, is really exciting to be a part of.
That is exciting.
Yes, yes.
What is a highlight of your career been?
A highlight. I would say in my short career as deputy, I was acting town manager while we were doing our search for a new town manager, and that actually solidified. Actually, can we start over with that one? I don't think that's a highlight. Can we come back to that question?
Yeah.
I have many highlights, so I'm trying to think of what would be the most.
Okay, let's go back to the issue of inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, having worked on this so much, do you think that could help the profession overall become more inclusive?
I think, really listening to the feedback that ICMA is getting from people that they're asking the questions of, you know, and really looking at not just mid-career or early career or students, but looking at the whole package together and offering all different training opportunities, not focusing. I feel like there's a big push around upward mobility versus growth in your own positions. And I get a lot of women that I work with that may not necessarily, they're either in a position in their personal lives that they don't want to move up, or they just love what they do and they just would like the opportunity to grow in their position. So I think balancing the push of women in higher positions, but also women in their positions and really giving them opportunity to grow. And, you know, in catering it to women. I know the trainings and things that I've gone to that are all women, there's a different vibe in those sessions than there are. And it's wonderful to have men. I think that men are a part of the solution, that we can't do it without being partners. But when you have a room full of all women, they tend to ask questions that they may not ask in mixed company, or they may not feel comfortable saying that they have some sort of experience if they think they're going to be judged. So I would just say to really take all of that and not focus on one thing or another, which is hard to do, I think. But if there's a way to do it, I think having that balance would be great. Yes.
And what has been the most valuable aspect to your ICMA membership?
So I think it's a tie between the conferences that are offered and the webinars. You know, the webinars you can do even at your desk. You can listen to them and just learn while you're maybe signing the mountains of paper that you have to sign. So those, you know, the opportunities to go away and train at a higher level, get energized from the keynote speakers and all that at a major conference, but then the stuff that you can do at home, the opportunities, the webinars, the partnerships with the local level, I think are huge, because it ties what we're doing in our own cities and towns to the major initiative.
Right. And what would you say to somebody to encourage them to join ICMA?
It can be a lonely profession. And to be able to have colleagues that understand what you do, because I think that's probably one of the hardest things that I try to explain, what I do in local government. I'm not a politician and that sort of thing. Most people in my circle don't understand what I do. So to have people that understand and just, you can call, people can call anybody in this ICMA, in this organization, and get an answer, or get somebody else to call, to get 4 different people to get a different perspective. So I would say, you know, if this is the profession you want to be in, ICMA is going to help you stay there, get the resources that you need, because we all have hard days, we all have struggles, and your friends, your family, a lot of times don't understand. They want to be supportive, they want to be there for you, but your situation any situation that we go through, somebody else in the world has gone through that situation. And to be a part of ICMA gives you that one phone call away, one email away, one text away from someone that could help walk you through your ideas, or give you ideas on what they have done that has been successful or that have failed.
Good answer.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll come back to you if you want to tell me about the highlight of your career, 1 or 2 of them.
Sure. So I think for me, coming up through, my promotion kind of sticks out because I had worked for about 5 years in, not in management at all. And so when I was promoted, that gave the organization that I work for, the people that I had worked with on my same mid-manager level, we had all talked about growing and where could we go and what opportunities did we have. But for them to see that the town manager had promoted somebody from within the organization, that was a big deal for our organization, because a lot of times people were brought in from the outside, even though we had all been talked to about succession planning and, you know, growing within the organization, but we didn't see a lot of it internally. So with my promotion, we started to see it more and more. And now that's really it's always been talked about as a big focus, but for staff that now I supervise, to see that somebody in their mid-management level can do it, that means I can do it too. I think, again, it goes back to being a role model and something that people can achieve. It's not just coming in from another place that has 20 years of experience. It's actually recognizing the experience that we have internally and promoting it and giving people the training that they need when they get to the position, saying that we know you don't have A, B, and C, but you have all the rest of it, and we're going to give you the opportunity to get A, B, and C. So I think that's probably one of the biggest highlights, and I see it over and over. The staff that I still work with, they still comment, "Oh, it's so great that you're in that position." You know, it's wonderful, and so to have that support after being promoted is huge.
That's great. And that's a wonderful type of being inclusive too, to be able to promote from within
Yes.
and to recognize the talents of the people you have.
Yes,
Very
yes,
cool.
yeah.
I want to ask you something about the ICMA Code of Ethics. The Code of
Mhm.
Ethics turns 95 this year.
Yes.
So we are celebrating, and we're wondering if you have any moments of where the code really helped you in your career.
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking about this. The one that pops in my mind is one that we use all the time, which is, I believe it's Tenet 2, where alerting another town manager if we have an elected official that calls us for information, which we get on a regular basis in our area. I don't know if that's a regular thing, but I feel like it helps in so many ways in respect of the other town managers and what they're doing. And it's not done in a way that you're telling on the elected official. It's done in a very professional manner, and I feel like it helps grow relationships between our towns, between our professional staff, that we're alerting them of what they're looking for and what we've given to the elected official, because we're not going to give them the information if they're requesting it. But I think that it solidifies that professionalism within our various towns. We're all working towards the same thing, you know, providing services and great management of the towns or cities that we're in, but not being undermined or underhanded, or not, undermined is not the right word, but not being, what's the word, sidetracked, or you're not given a heads up. I think it's nice when we all have a heads up of what we're walking into. So we have the answers, or we can do some of our own research before we're asked the question, if that's available to us.
Great.
Yes.
And I think we already covered this in another couple of other questions, but what are the 2 or 3 most important things that you would say to somebody to break into a local leadership role, and especially coming from your unique
Sure.
experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing that I would say, I think I've said it before too, is start asking people that are in the role that you want to be in, how do they get there? What do they do day to day? Because I've noticed from town to towns, even other deputies or assistants in my area do different things, and maybe I would like to do human resources as part of my position, or maybe I'd like to do IT or finance. And so someone that's looking to grow into a position like mine is, do your own research of what, do you want to be in a town? Do you want to be in a city? Do you want to be in a county? There's so many opportunities, and so just start asking people. I've noticed I ask somebody about their job, and they could talk to me for hours on end about what they like and we all don't like certain part of our jobs, but what do they deal with because they like the other things so much. So just ask. I think it's that simple. Just start asking questions of what the jobs are and what they do, because they do vary from town to town or city to city or whatnot. Yes.
We have 3 more questions. ICMARC has asked us to ask a few questions that they'd like to
Okay.
use in the
Yes.
project. So the first is, what is the role of cities and towns in our communities generally?
I saw that. I don't really I don't really understand that question.
I think what they're asking is what role do they have in speaking for the residents, speaking for the citizens, promoting services, clean water, and
Yeah.
It's an awkwardly phrased question. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think as professionals, we are there to execute what, like our town is representative town meeting, so they vote on everything that we do. They decide, and we're there to provide neutral information so that they can make informed decisions about where they want the town to go. I think sometimes we should give our opinions because of experience that we have with other decisions, but ultimately our job is to execute what the town votes on and what they are looking to do and where they want to go.
Great. What's the biggest challenge that local governments face today?
I think, unfortunately, our political climate, again, even though we're not supposed to be political, I think there's a mistrust in government in general, and that filters down. No matter how much we try to be transparent and we try to make sure we have all the data back up and all the research back up for any recommendations that we make, it's that unrest and that distrust, I think, unfortunately, is just here to stay for a while. So that's difficult to work in an environment that's the underlying feeling of residents or elected officials and that sort of thing.
And finally, what role do retirement benefits play for local government employees?
I think there's a huge role of retirement benefits. I mean, it's with pensions and with just inflation and everything, it's hard to think what the future holds, what you're going to need in order to live after you retire. I think that benefits can vary from town or city, but I think it's probably one of the stable benefits that we have in our town, at least, that attracts people to the profession. If you're thinking about the future, depending maybe on where you are in your career, but I think to have the opportunity to look at what our benefits actually look like, I think that it's a hard question depending on where you're at in your career. They try to, I think when you're hired, it's try to impress upon you to start saving for your retirement, but you may not necessarily think that's very important. But as we all know, it's hard to start saving mid-career, later career, and expect to have the same amount when you retire. So I think that having, I know that that's part of the pay is not, for some cities and towns, for some people, is not that great, but the benefits that offset the pay is what attracts some people to work in local government, because you don't have the thought that the pension's going to be blown away by, a mismatch of funds or investors or that sort of thing. I think, I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm not in the finance world. It's hard for me to answer that. But for me, the benefits, I think, are phenomenal. I think you can't go wrong in the public sector with the retirement benefits. We're lucky to have them, I think.
Great.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you might want to say that we missed in the questioning about ICMA, about career changing, about anything? And it's okay if that.
I don't think so.
Then thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome.
We are done.
Thank you.